Going and getting flooded out. Okay, I guess it's pretty good. Good morning. Good morning. It's 9:30 a.m. October 1st, Tuesday. If you'd all please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll start with a prayer, please. Heavenly Father, we beseech your divine guidance in this meeting. Keep us ever mindful of our obligation. Grant us, dear Lord, wisdom, tolerance, and courage that we may well serve our county and fulfill our trust. Amen.
Amen.
All right, and we've got minutes.
Move to approve the minutes of the September 24th Commissioners meeting.
Second.
Moving second, any discussion or changes? Roll call, please.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes. All right. And next, public comment regarding any of the pending resolutions. Seeing none, we will go ahead and proceed with the resolutions. And we've got Dan Baker with the County Engineer's Office.
Morning.
Good morning.
Got one resolution for your consideration today. It's approving the final plat for the Prairie Vista subdivision in Hinckley Township, and then our weekly permits.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moving second, any discussion or changes? Roll call, please.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Next, our sanitary engineer, Jeremy Simcoe.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Two resolutions for consideration today. The first is authorizing an agreement between Medina County and CSX Corporation, and the second is authorizing final adjusting change order number 1 for the Liverpool wastewater treatment plant megawatt generator repair project.
Move to approve both resolutions.
Second.
Moving second, any discussion?
You did good last night.
Yeah, I was going to make a comment, not the resolutions, but last night we had a special meeting, the commissioners at the University Center to discuss the Chippewa wastewater treatment plant. Jeremy, you and David Brandon did an excellent job presenting and talking in great depth and specifics about that plant, the costs, and the alternatives that we have to deal with. So you did outstanding on that.
Thank you very much.
Really good. Roll call, please.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Thanks.
Thanks. Holly Murin, our Human Resources Director.
Good morning.
Good morning.
On our personnel changes today, we have 5 rate increases, 3 at Job and Family Services and 2 in Sanitary, 4 promotions in Maintenance, 2 leave of absence at Job and Family Services, 4 resignations, 1 in Planning, 1 in Maintenance, 1 at Job and Family Services, and 1 in Sanitary.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. Thanks, Holly. Brett Thomas, our Finance Director.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Morning.
We have 7 resolutions for you, pretty short and sweet today, though. The first one is our sales tax distribution to the school districts. That is in the amount of $4,817,965.11. Our second resolution is the Merchant Services Agreement with AMCS Group for Solid Waste District. They will finally start taking credit cards at the solid waste facilities.
Now, this starts January 1.
Correct.
January 1st. Just to make it clear, we did do a poll. I could interject. We did a poll, and it was whether people wanted to use it, and it would believe it or not, it was like 50-50. So we still have, and that was a considerable size poll. It was a number over 100 or so that they polled on that. But it was good to see, and even some were the smaller haulers, commercial. So it definitely is in demand.
Yeah, AMCS Pay will also offer a couple other possible options for commercial haulers for different arrangements. So I look forward to us getting this project completed. We still have some work to do on the back end for it, but we should be on target, hopefully, for our January 1st kickoff date.
Yeah, thanks for doing that.
Our third resolution is our transfer of county inventory between various offices. Most of this is sheriffs have some extra stuff that they are passing over to the juvenile detention center. Our fourth resolution is excess property. This is kind of a long list, but it's actually a lot of just very old stuff that has been discovered that we needed to kind of purge finally. We do have I've had questions on this, so just so for public record, we do go through a process to vet when something is excess property that will be declared for disposal. Things that have any potential remaining value are listed through for auction instead. Our fifth resolution is expenses for the county engineer, a seminar on professional land surveyors. Our sixth resolution is expenses for county officials. We do have one out of state for the sheriff for commercial vehicle awareness for law enforcement training, and that is in Ambridge, Pennsylvania. And our seventh and final resolution is our weekly bills in the amount of $1,259,108.83.
Move to approve the 7 resolutions.
Second.
Moved and second, any discussion?
Typically, when we have our sales tax disbursements, isn't that included in the total for the bills?
No.
Oh,
We have
okay.
to approve the sales tax payout before we actually make the sales
I
tax
think I've asked that
payout.
question
So-
before, and the answer's consistent, so that's great.
Well, I hope so.
And then I had one other question too on merchant services. Across departments, how many different merchant services accounts do we have?
We do actually have several between the various electeds, as well as a couple of our own that we use through the commissioners' departments. I'd have to get you a final number, but the main reason for that is those are very difficult to consolidate because a lot of times they are bound through the software that has created the point of sale for each department. For instance, for ACMS Pay, this is because solid waste utilizes the trucks software.
Okay.
Using something that as a third party would probably not integrate nearly as well. As a matter of fact, we did vet that option and it does not integrate very well. But across the board, different facilities utilize different software for tracking purposes for their stated goals, and oftentimes that gets this service kind of has to get bundled in with it.
Yep. Oh, well, that's at least we've thought about that, because that does seem like one of those where, those minimum charges or per transaction charges can really add up across a big county. So,
Right,
but
yeah.
I get why maybe that isn't feasible, but at least we've thought about it.
Yep,
So.
it'd be wonderful to have economies of scale on that, but unfortunately, there's really not an ability to do so.
Yep. Okay. Thanks.
Welcome.
Okay, roll call, please.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes. All right, very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you. Next, Matt Springer, our county administrator.
Good morning. Just one resolution to consider. This is accepting amendment number 1 for the Office for Older Adults in the Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging for the Medicare Improvements for Patients and Providers Act. This is a grant running from September 1st, 2023 through August 31st of this year. And we received an additional amount of funding in the amount of $1,333 to assist with prescription drug assistance.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and second, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Thanks, Matt. Next, department updates. Laura Toth, Office for Older Adults.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to give a few updates. Our Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program, the online application process overall went much better than we had anticipated. Medina County had over 300 people apply online for these benefits. Most have been approved, but are still struggling to access the benefits. That's really where our problem is. We receive several phone calls per day to help folks confirm that they're approved. And then if they haven't received their benefits card, we're able to download and print out a QR code so they can pick that up, and then they're off to the races at a farmer's market. Again, we only have 3 approved markets in the area. One's in Columbia Station, Red Wagon, Richardson's, and then the farmer's market on the square, which there's like 13 vendors that they can use on the square, but it is just that location. They did extend the redemption period through November 30th. we're not alone in this, as you can imagine, across the state. Western Reserve, who covers Cuyahoga, Lorraine, Geauga, Lake, and Medina counties, for that whole 5-county area, again, including Cuyahoga, only $41,000 has been redeemed in benefits. So that's a pretty low number. Sarah Poling, who is a resident and a farmer in Chatham Township, is really very interested on the farmer side of this, and is on our advisory council, and took a bunch of information and phone numbers trying to call and get some information on the farmer side, so I might have that to report out in the future. But I think that there might be some frustration on that side too, because we all want the same thing. We just need to hopefully make sure that happens a little more smoothly in the future.
What was the Medina County usage last year, or before they changed?
The utilization?
Yeah.
We don't have the utilization
Okay.
numbers. I can tell you that 292 people received $50 worth of paper vouchers.
Yeah.
In Western Reserve used to send us reports saying how our typical utilization was around 85 to 90%. I can't guarantee that was 2023's.
Yeah.
Because we didn't get that report in 2023.
Right,
Well,
right.
it would have been 2024. But that, historically, it's in that 85 to 90.
But this is essentially their program that we tried to implement. Western Reserve
Correct.
Agency.
Yeah.
And they've decided to go this route, and it sounds
Yeah.
like it's system-wide.
Correct.
Yeah, 'cause
And
that would have been
oh,
almost a third of the
Yeah,
total
yeah.
numbers that were redeemed on the voucher system. Yeah, that's a shame.
and OOA doesn't
Yeah.
get money for this, and we can't, I mean, we
Right.
just want to do it. We have a couple
Sure.
of programs like that, like the
Yeah.
tax scheduling, all that. It's just, we want to do it because it's the
Mhm.
right thing and the best way to get
Mhm.
seniors the services they need. So we'll keep plugging along.
Yeah,
But,
thank you for your work on that.
Our next large-scale event is coming up. Oktoberfest takes place Friday, October 11th. We will have it on South Elmwood at the Moose Lodge in their banquet room, which is Bavarian-themed. And the event starts at 10:30. We will have a polka trio. It's pretty exciting. Kielbasi and apple pie and beer, root beer, just root beer, the root variety. But it's going to be a lot of fun. And we have about 150 people, I think the room
Good.
holds. And I think we're, about reserved out. We still have space for a couple of vendors, because we do have a little vendor area where we have like 6 to 8 people that will be there. So that'll be exciting.
Last year, there was some very
Oh, yeah.
interesting root beers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just staying with the root this year.
Okay.
No butter beer or
Okay.
ginger beer, just root beer. We also have Halloween parties that'll take place in Medina on Friday, the 25th of October, and then in Brunswick on the 31st. Home delivered meal routes remain consistently in about the 190 clients getting meals delivered each day. It is rising slowly. In our upcoming budget, you'll see that we're going to add probably next year an additional meal route. Once we have 7 routes right now. Once the drivers get to 25 or more, we really have to add. That's when we typically have added routes. In the past, we start to have concerns about the length of the route, and the temperature of the meals, and just what time people are getting their food. It's a lunch program. We do have people that, get meals delivered at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, which, then they can save it for lunch, but then we don't want people getting their meals much past 1:30 or so, 2, 3 o'clock, it's getting a little bit too late. So we're going to include that in the 2025 budget. All of our ARPA funded grants are coming to a close. We are beginning final reporting for the Healthy Aging grant that came through the state of Ohio. And we utilized all funds. And also DIAL, which Commissioner Hambley's involved in. There is some anticipation that there'll be a few, couple $1,000s of DIAL funds, and that may be allocated to OOA for the provision of computer classes. And even if it's not, we will continue computer classes. The Medina County Senior and Adult Foundation will fund that program. There's a couple of programs they'll be funding for us, and that includes that. So if there's money from DIAL that's left and can come to OOA, we will utilize it for that purpose. If we run out, or there's, in the future, it will be through the Senior and Adult Foundation. We also had 2 Adult Protective Services specific grants. Obviously, they came through JFS, but our program was the beneficiary of those funds. And we did spend down all of those funds as requested by the state by September 30th. They did extend those for another year, but we don't have any. We're done. And there's no additional funding coming. I don't know if other counties were struggling to make that work, but all of the funds that we have through those accounts are expended. We are starting, as is everybody, our budget for 2025. I have a meeting with Matt Springer and Maintenance Superintendent Stephen Bastin on the 21st of October to discuss capital improvements at our building, at our section of the building for 2025. Funding for these improvements, some of it will come from the levy, but also, again, the Medina County Senior and Adult Foundation plans significant contribution for capital expenses for the agency, which is really nice. So they're helping on the programming side, and they're helping on the capital improvement side. So it's great to see their participation in our projects. We were approached by Ohio Guidestone and asked to help develop funding for a senior mental health series. We have a really small memorandum of understanding for senior prevention services through the Mental Health and Recovery Board. I reached out to Philip Titterington, and our agreement is able to be amended to include such activities. He wrote it in such a way that if we kind of came up with something new and we had the funding, I can just basically write a letter before, and he would put it before his board for approval, which is kind of a really nice caveat for us. But he thought it would fit the program, and so we are kind of off to the races on that, and that hopefully that series will begin in the next 90 days, a series of mental health talks for seniors, especially around the holidays, talking about grief, talking about isolation, things that really affect all of us, and in particular seniors through this time of year. But I just wanted to thank Guidestone and the Mental Health Recovery Board to continue to work cooperatively with us. And last but not least, I have reached out to the commissioners and the advisory board, and in an effort to keep up with kind of changing times in language and with our strategic plans, Medina County Office for Older Adults is just starting to think about a name change for our agency. Actually, to kind of take a step back, the Mental Health Recovery Board just changed their name. I was sitting next to Commissioner Swedick at a meeting last week, and I said, oh, that was on our strategic plan, and right before COVID, and then COVID happened, and we never kind of revisited, but I would love to do that. And she's like, you should go for it. We should do it. Let's get on that. So we are looking at the name of Medina County Senior and Adult Services. It kind of encompasses the fact that we now have adult protective services, and we also provide services for those 18 and over. And when I go to presentations and start talking, I'll say, oh, why would anybody 35 years old call the Office for Older Adults? They wouldn't, unless they know about the specific program that we offer to people age 18 and over. So it kind of encompasses a few things. I'm just starting to do that work, and I thank the commissioners for their support. So we'll continue exploring, and that would be something that I would hope to do January 1st.
We'll hope everybody's as quick to adapt to your name change as you were to the Mental Health and Recovery Board, because you mentioned them a couple times. You nailed it.
Impressive.
Yeah.
No temptation to go back to the old way. So well done.
I know Adam's like really easy to say, like Adam Board, Adam. No.
That was my initial reaction too. Yeah.
I was looking at the record as a 10-2, and I saw that Office for Older Adults, it was in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So, the name's been that long, and I'd agree with you, since you've expanded the services and so forth, it makes sense to make sure the name identifies.
I believe JFS at that time was also like the welfare department.
Welfare, yes,
in
it
the
was, that's true.
70s, yeah.
Agreed, yeah. So I
And
think,
there's no preposition in there, in that new
Yeah.
name, so
Yeah, I
there's,
know.
there's no of or for.
Yes, thank you
right,
for that.
right, yeah. Although I've noticed actually even in the commissioner's minutes, it was often referred to as Office of Older Adults. That was maybe those typos way back when. But
The reason being,
It wasn't me, Laura.
OOA,
Right.
No, it wasn't you. Yeah.
O is of.
Yeah,
That's,
so
Yeah.
but
it's
I
just so easy to do.
I just, no, I agree. I think that'd be a good thing to do. We'll,
Yep.
obviously, now that we put it as part of the public agenda here, we ought to be discussing it and try to move with some formality to do that.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you all
Thank
so
you.
much.
Very good. Thanks. Next, Planning Services Director.
This is a pretty short report.
All right, good.
So for obviously, we have our October meeting this week with one agenda item, but for our November, we have 5 agenda items. So we have 4 major subdivisions, 2 in Liverpool, 1 in Montville, 1 in Brunswick Hills, as well as a Chatham Township text amendment. We are also continuing, Steve and I met about the scope of services, or I'm sorry, the cost of services report and the scope of work. So we'll kind of keep that process moving, or that project moving. We are wrapping up PY22, Program Year 22 Community Development Block Grant. So the final report is due at the end of this month, so we will be submitting that. And all of the draws, thanks to finance, have been completed. In addition to that, we are waiting to hear now for PY24. We did provide them with some additional information, and they have, and the good news is they have accepted finally our fair housing analysis of impediments as submitted. They said, don't worry about it until 2029. So, okay then. We also are continuing to work with the Medina County Strategic Plan. So the deadline for submission is October 18th. October 17th, we'll attend the Housing Network, and then on October 24th from 6:30 to 8 at the Medina County University Center is our final workshop for this year, and it is the Trends in Zoning. And Steve is actually one of our panel members, and I believe we've confirmed an individual to talk about solar as well. So we have a 4th person on our panel, in addition to Christine Dorsey Davis and a local attorney as well. So other than that, are there any questions?
No.
All right.
Yeah,
thank
doing
you
a great
so
job.
much.
Yep,
Thank you. Next, we have Commissioners' resolutions. We have resolution designating the legal holidays for 2025. Believe it or not, we're, I guess, jumping well ahead of this. It's hard to think about it, but this outlines
It
each
is
of those legal.
October.
I know, it is. It's like, okay.
Move to approve?
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes. We have our next resolution, reappointing a member to the Medina County Law Library Resources Board. Rob Skidmore has served as a member. It expires at the end of this year. He would like to continue serving, and this reappoints him as a member with the term expiring December 31st, 2029.
Move to approve?
Second.
Move and second. Any discussion?
Rob's done a great job. He's a
Good
good
job.
member of the local bar, so I'm glad he's willing to continue serving.
Yeah, indeed. Roll call, please.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes, all right. Next, we have a resolution approving the filing of an F-Class temporary permit out to allow the sale of beer during the 2024 special event.
Move to approve?
Second.
This is at the fairgrounds.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes, all right. The next resolution establishes viewing and hearing dates as necessitated by the receipt of a resolution from the York Township trustees seeking the vacation of a portion of the road that extends north from the corner of Spellman Street and Indo Street in York Township. We don't do these very often. The thought was to make sure we document it and include it in the agenda. Let me see. The commissioners will meet Tuesday, October 29th, 11 a.m. to view the proposed vacation, and then we'll have a public hearing at 1 p.m. on October 29th to hear from the public as well as from the county engineer as to the necessity or the consequences of vacating that section of street.
Move to approve?
Second.
Move second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes. All right. That's all we have for our resolutions. Now, open up to public comment. Stan, you have anything? Okay, all right. I don't, no, okay. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and enter into discussion. Matt, you have anything?
Yeah, 2 things.
Okay.
2 items, they'll be relatively brief, but just
Okay.
wanted to give you an update. The 2025 budget memo went out yesterday, so we've asked all the different departments and electeds to start preparing their 2025 budget. It's due November 8th, and then we plan to have some of those budget hearings December through January with budget adoption sometime in February. So just wanted you to be aware that's in motion. The second item is this past Friday, we held a design build interview with 2 firms to help the sheriff's office with their project. off of Wedgewood. Those interviews went well. We do think we have a good firm that could potentially do the project. However, project estimate was about $500,000, and we do anticipate, based upon the response, that we need to find a way to pull that number down in terms of the expenses. So that building was going to be used to house their mobile command unit. As you know, they had received some grant funding to help assist with that purchase. But we're trying to find additional ways that we can not only bring the cost of construction down, but then find some additional savings. So later this morning, Chris, myself, we're going to continue to work through the remaining ARPA dollars just to make sure we're not leaving any dollars on the table. We'll take a look at our subsidies and our contingency funds to see if we can help with that project. So we will report back and give you additional information here shortly, but that's kind of where we are at the moment.
So as I understood from our conversations, we have, the primary purpose was for the housing or for those vehicles. And there was a secondary where you added some training potential. And so that's where you'd be looking at reducing
Yeah, if there's certain
the savings, whether that second part of it is as important as the first.
Yeah, so we're having quite a few discussions with
Okay.
the sheriff to see if there's other cost-saving efforts that we can take.
Right.
Whether that's the tasers, if we could pare that back a little bit. I know he's exploring those options. Again, the meeting room, whether or not that's something that we could pull back on, so we can get that closer to the $500,000 budget that we had planned for.
So as far as the ARPA dollars, they were expended, except we held a little back for our RFQ that's due on the 18th. Are you looking to explore things we had appropriated but didn't go the full cost? Is that what you mean?
Both
Okay.
that, and there's some of the HVAC projects that are nearing completion that has some contingencies built
good.
into the cost, which are not going to be utilized, so that'll come back into the pot. So as those dollars become available, we'll just make sure we're obligating them before December 31st deadline.
What's kind of like what with the dial, with the digital
Right,
inclusion,
right.
we had some additional remaining, and then, of course, the decision was just shift it back over to OOA for some of the computer
Well, we
classes.
did a lot of HVAC projects, so I
Yes, we
hope
did.
there's a lot of
That'd be nice.
contingencies.
I guess we'll see.
So we were going to explore that, and we'll be sure to report back.
Check the
Okay.
cushions underneath.
Yeah. Well, I think
See
too,
with some dollars, yeah.
because there are federal dollars and money from other sources, if we can help bridge that gap and, the total cost for mobile command plus the facility to house it direct to the county isn't going to be, too terribly outrageous
And-
relative to what we're going to get.
And we have to designate those by the end of the year, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I know we count on the sheriff to help us make sure we get every penny expended of the ARPA money.
Yeah, he's got a list. Yeah. All right.
That's all that I had.
Okay.
Great.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Matt.
Okay, thanks.
Chris, do you have anything? No, he took care of it. Okay, got it. All right. Jeremy? Okay, all right. Anything?
I'm going to go represent us tonight at 5:30 at the Metro Parks meeting. The information that they're having on the potential list of things, so I'm going to go there and.
There was a meeting this evening?
At Red Ring Cabin
Oh,
at
yes, that's right. That's, we
$5:30.
received that letter. Yes, yes.
So, I'm going to go attend it.
Great.
Well, I assume since it's your jurisdiction, it's
Well,
Hinckley's.
it's your jurisdiction too, it's mine, yeah, okay.
I'm glad that we will be represented.
Yes,
there.
thank you, thank you.
So-
I'm sure we'll have other Medina County and Hinckley residents there for
Yes,
sure.
yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. Thanks.
I don't have anything else, Dan.
Okay, all right. And I don't have anything to add as well. Do have a request for executive session?
Move that we convene executive session to discuss the sale or purchase of property.
Second,
Roll call, please.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
yes.
Hambley?
Yes, all right, thank you. Everybody have a good day, and we'll be coming out of executive session. No actions are anticipated to be taken. So, everybody have a good week. Thank you.